What's up, broadcasters? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Branding Banter, your promotional products broadcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA.
And I'm Meg Gerber, CXO of the Bark and Billy.
I'm Sarah Goshgarian Unreal, National Sales Manager at Stalls. I still don't have my title down, so we'll just start with that. But anyways.
All right, so I'm just going to insert your daughter doing the whole chubby bunny again right there
Yeah,
instead
there you
of
go.
you. Yeah.
So kidding.
Meg, CXO, Bark and Bowie. For anybody that's been under a roof, fill us in. Or under a rock.
Yeah, under a rock. Chief Experience Officer. My family and I are putting together this really cool pet boutique, doggy daycare, self-serve dog washing station up on the lake in Maine. Something that we are so excited about. We've been doing a lot of marketing on social media. My daughter and I have been up there painting. We've been painting a mural. We're just doing so much. We're having a lot of fun. I'm back here in New Jersey because Easter, here for about a week and a half.
Tell us about your shiplap experience.
I don't even know that I told you about the shiplap. I don't even remember, but it's not done. It's not done.
Well, you said
you were going with white. You said you were going with white, and then because of how bowed the walls were, then you had to.
I had to make cuts and lots of Gorilla Glue, and there's no fucking way that stuff's coming off the wall.
Gorilla Glue?
They make it for construction.
Oh, so it's a construction adhesive. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It's a construction.
I was going to say.
So yeah, so the walls are so bowed, and I'm just like, and it's turning into a disaster. But it can't be fixed at this point. So I'm going to paint it blue to match our logo, which will look really good against the agreeable gray walls. But yeah, what a nightmare! I'm no construction person.
Well, listen, I don't know how bowed, like how many inches or whatever, but there's these great things called shims, and you put them on the face of the recessed beams, and that brings out the thing to make it all level. And then you've got a flush surface to put your shiplap on.
Okay, you want to come up because.
You need to watch more HGTV, Meg.
Okay, that's what I have.
You need some more Chip and whatever her name is. What's their show called? You guys
Diane.
Yeah, that one. All right, there you go.
Yeah,
anyhow,
show.
Bags under my eyes.
So Meg, you're officially an end user then?
Well, I'm still, yeah. So I am an end buyer. So I think what we'll do for at least until things change or whatever. I think what we'll do is at least I can give my perspective because I'm doing a lot of buying right now for inventory, a lot of promotional products. I'm buying things that I'm definitely having to pay tariffs on. I'm trying to buy a refrigerator for raw food has been very tumultuous because they're so expensive. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can get a used one. Maybe I can get one off Alibaba, whatever. I'm like, I'm having to pull those strings now. I'm like, oh, damn, these things are really expensive. So
why are you paying tariffs on product already unless you're ordering a custom overseas?
I'm not yet. I haven't even pulled the trigger on buying anything yet because I've been back and forth so much, but I have everything lined up in my cart and I'm actually watching the prices go up on a lot of these things. So I'm like, ooh. And I know there was some promotional products that I was getting from somebody that said, hey, we should pull the trigger. And this was before March 31st. But I'm like, I wasn't ready to so I don't know what that's going to look like now, but I'm having that talk this week with him. So we can kind of get that.
The reason I ask is, as the supplier, I don't get to see what other suppliers are doing as far as the, how they're handling the tariffs and pricing and all that. But, when you really think about it, the tariffs really aren't affecting anything unless it's been imported since that time, which I mean,
gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So any stock that you'd be sitting on, that price shouldn't be increased unless the supplier is trying to.
No. So the stuff that I'm thinking of in particular is coming from Pride Bites, right? So I have some dog beds, some toys, and then something else that I'm getting. Oh, like a mat, like the place mat. And so that I believe is all coming from over there, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. He was like, "I'd really like to get this in by the end of the week," and I didn't think about it at the time, but it's probably because of the tariffs and stuff. So,
gotcha.
Yeah,
well,
I'll let you know next week.
Since you mentioned tariffs, should we talk about today's episode of the IRS and taxes and how we should just abolish the IRS?
Yes, abolish the IRS.
Storm the hill. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that health insurance.
We'll go back. I know.
Sarah, you did that last week.
Yeah. Yes.
So mission not accomplished. You didn't get them to abolish the IRS while you were there?
No, I did not. But the de minimis we talked about, and that, if you didn't see, the threshold got removed. That eliminated the $800 duty-free threshold for small parcels from China, Hong Kong.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, effective date is May 2nd. So this is what I don't know if you saw, but this is what is going to drive like Temu and Shein, the prices of their items up, is because everyone's going to pay duties on anything that gets shipped in.
Yeah.
Irregardless, because if it was under $800, there were some taxes, tariffs that you did not have to pay, and that now.
And I think there were some people doing some creative accounting as well to get around it.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, that's probably a smart thing.
Yeah. And then, that DH Gate, I don't know if you guys heard that app, DH Gate. It has like luxury products.
Oh, I've been hearing that all over TikTok right now.
Yeah.
It's all over TikTok, and it's the Chinese suppliers are literally just throwing people out the doors. Not throwing them out the door, but throwing them under the bus. That's what I was trying to say.
They're like
Michael Kors.
It's like Oz. I feel like it's like a Wizard of Oz moment, right? Like you get to see what the wizard's doing behind the curtain, right? So your Birkin bags that you pay, which I don't own a Birkin, so like a $50,000, $100,000 bag of how it's made, basically all in China, flown back over to Italy, where hardware and a few things are applied, and then it's made in Italy or whatever. So
they sell them for like $30,000, but the actual retail cost or the actual cost to manufacture it's like $1,400.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw those TikToks.
Yeah.
Or Instagram Reels or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, everything gets moved over, but so that's a little crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And if you look at that DH here's a peek into my shopping habits. I can't stand like a TJ Maxx, a Marshalls, like anything like that, because it feels very like unorganized. It brings me like anxiety, and I feel like I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it at all. So when I look at like an app like this and I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So I freeze and I put it down. So it's a good thing for my husband, because then I don't end up buying a lot of shit, because I can't stand
unorganization. Yeah.
So
I do like TJ Maxx and Home Goods. I do like that, but on the app, it's because I can see it. But on the app, I get very overwhelmed there. I will be like this, and and then I'm like, oh, and I just have to put it away. And I never end up buying anything.
Yeah.
But
Are you guys use an app for those stores?
Yeah. Oh, wait, TJ Maxx? No, TJ Maxx, I'm going right in. They don't keep the inventory in long enough to be able to have an app or a website. I mean, a functioning.
That's what I was thinking.
It's all like the deals, but I can't stand like an unorganized one. Like I walk in and I walk out. It's like a Black Friday, like dealing with Macy's.
Yeah, it is.
Like piles of like unfolded clothes and stuff. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm out. So I'd rather pay full price and have a better experience. So I can't do it.
That's just poor store management then. But all right, well, we've gotten into the weeds, guys. Let's get back on the rails here.
What about taxes?
So Meg, why don't you fill us in on your taxes?
So I'm very proud of myself, and I know JQ and I have talked about this actually 10 times over the last couple of years. I'm like, I haven't even done my taxes yet, and it would be like July, and I'd be like, oh, I still have time. You have to put in for those extensions, but I'm just like, I have to get it done this year. I have so much on my plate, and it was so stressful. So I finally did my taxes. I got them in before the deadline this year. This is probably the first time in 5 or more years that I have. Probably closer to 10, but again, extensions. But I think what really prompted this episode was, I can really talk about it, I guess, kind of, but I'm just going to be open about it. But, I put it on Facebook, so I guess I kind of made it as open as possible. But I received a bonus, like most people do in this industry. They negotiate it into their salary when they're looking for a job, and it's like, okay, all right, well, so I got a bonus at the end of the year, and that was based off of my, how much we helped the company grow, et cetera, et cetera. But it was a guaranteed set amount. So when I left the job, I wanted to make sure that I was still getting it, and I was. But then when I received it, I was like, this isn't right. This is like 66% of the bonus is gone. And I went back to my HR rep and I was like, hey, something's not right. Can you just take a look at this? And she sent it over to accounting. There must have been like 10 people looking at this for me, because I was so upset. I guess I was just distraught, because I was expecting probably at least about $4,000 more dollars, right? Like maybe take 40%. Like I thought that was the standard. But no, this went through ADP. This was all about, like, I guess the normal tax rates and everything. So it took out over 60%, which to me is mind-boggling. Like, how the F can somebody take, like, I'm still mad. I was so mad about it. Remember, I can't stop talking about this because, like, that's money I earned. That was part of my salary, and now it's gone. And I actually needed that because I needed to buy a new washer and dryer. But good news is I was able to just finish paying off my credit card debt, and then I put a washer and dryer back on my credit card, so I'm back in debt. But either way, the good news from all of that is that when I do go to file my taxes for next year, I should be able to get a majority of that back. It just really sucks because I was not expecting that, and I think.
So, what did you do any research as to why it was withheld at such a high rate?
No, I didn't. I mean, we went through it, but it's really just what ADP has in for the tax bracket for bonuses. It's literally that much. It's just that much. So it's just, there's nothing
why would they about it. Why would they tax a bonus at a higher percentage rate than even the highest tax bracket? Because the highest tax bracket is like 37% or something.
I don't know. Sarah, are you Googling it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it too because I'm trying to figure out, because I thought it was 22%. So I'm like trying to do my research on the back end of what it would get. But 22% plus also your Social Security, your Medicare, right? Those are always taxes that get money that gets pulled out. But Social Security is like 6.2%. Medicare is 1.4%. And then there's a little
it all adds up. We were going through it. Like, we put it in Grok. I put it in, and it was like, no, it should be everything that I was researching was telling me that it shouldn't be as much as it was.
Well, yeah, because
what's that?
I just looked it up, and the absolute highest tax bracket is 37%. So you've got your Medicare and all that stuff on top of that. But how could it possibly be 60% if the highest bracket's 37? Like, that makes zero sense.
Everything you're saying, I already said.
Yeah,
everything
I'm sure you did, which was what kind of prompted this of us talking about, like, small business owners too, right? And the taxes that they pay. And so now that you're transitioning into owning your own business, you're starting to look at, like, where your write-offs are in order to ensure that things like this don't happen.
Exactly.
The thing that I don't understand as a small business owner, why the hell you have to pay your
payroll taxes?
Your estimated quarterly taxes based on your estimated income or whatever. Like, have either of you, like, had to deal with any of that, especially Meg, since you've done, like, the distributor thing in the past?
I have an accountant for that reason. I can't. I don't even have the bandwidth to do my taxes on time.
I mean, you might have an accountant, but you'd have to pay that tax.
Yeah, you still have to go in and you have to pay that tax.
You'd have to pay it.
So it's like how many of your sales and all of that you have. Yeah, sales tax here. And
I don't understand that at all. I don't think you should have to pay that until it's, like, actually due. Like, there's a due date. It's April 15th.
April 15th. Yeah.
That it's due every year. Yeah.
I don't know. Just abolish the IRS.
Quarterly. I know.
Yeah, just get rid of those.
Just get rid of it. I mean, I know that Trump's trying to banish taxes on tips, on what else? Social Security, right? And I think that's the move. Then on bonuses should be next, man. That's stuff that we've worked for. It's awful.
We were kind of looking that up before we went live. We were talking about the IRS first being implemented technically during the Civil War to help fund the war, but aside from that, it was really established in the 16th Amendment in 1913. Where the federal government could basically tax you without apportioning things to the states. So it's only been a little over 100 years that we've had taxes, and
it's kind of crazy when you think about that.
Yeah.
Like, and before that, everything was funded by the tariffs, and so that's why where it's foreign to us kind of right now, because to your point, it's only been like the last 100 years, which is what our parents generationally, what we've all known have been taxes. But we can see, like, the debt that's also accumulating since the implementation of taxes.
Yeah. I think it's important. I know my daughter recently she became an affiliate of Performa, so she had to get her own business LLC, and so she had to do her taxes, but she didn't really have any sales from last year. She started it, but was slowly working towards building up the business. So she had to go in and file taxes as well. So I was having to, like, go through everything with a fine-tooth comb because I pay the accountant. It's just too much for me, right? But I think that's super important. As a small business, there's so many deductions for our industry that maybe you aren't taking advantage of. She didn't have next year, she'll have a lot more. So I thought I was doing the research for the podcast and for her, but I think do you guys want to talk about some deductions that our industry?
I was going to say, what are some of them that you found that are most people would probably, or people might overlook?
Yeah, well, this one I don't think anyone overlooks because it's our industry, right? Any marketing and advertising money that you spend is deductible. So those branded pens that you give away at trade shows, the cost of producing and distributing those items for your own marketing is deductible. Same goes for your website, social media ads, even branding Banter sponsorships are completely tax deductible. Trade show expenses, right? Events like ASI Orlando or PPI, I can't speak, Expo in Vegas are gold mines for networking, but they're also deductible. Travel, lodging, booth fees, even meals, keep all those receipts. The IRS allows 50% on business meals. So don't toss that dinner bill from Vegas. Your home office and equipment, running your distributorship from a home office, you can deduct a portion of your rent, utilities, and internet as it's a dedicated workspace. Plus, you have a new laptop, printer, any of your office supplies, those are also deductible, and you can write those off. Now, vehicle expenses. I know this gets a little bit tricky, right? People are like, can I deduct my miles to and from work? No, you cannot. If you are going from your home to your office, those are not deductible. But if you are going, to your sales customers or to different offices or different, it's 67 cents per mile. And that's for 2025. I thought it was 70 something earlier. So this is just what Grok is saying. But for 2025, it's 67 cents per mile. Or deduct actual car expenses like gas and maintenance if that's better. So I think you can do actual or standard. That's what I was saying when I was helping her do her taxes yesterday. I will say one thing that I've seen this app on TikTok and Instagram, and I just saw it here as well, and I think it may be worth it, especially for outside sales reps or someone like you, Sarah. You're traveling all over the country. Jeff, you're driving as well. There's an app called Mile IQ, which helps you track your miles. It's either that or QuickBooks. I think if you can track your miles, it's just a lot easier. What I did this year when I was doing my taxes, because I usually just say, here's a Word document with all my stuff, right? And I just kind of tell them. I kept my records meticulously this year, and I handed him a spreadsheet that had, here's all my meals, dates, miles, and I had it for everything. So it was really organized this year, and so I think I'm actually getting more money back this year because of how organized I was. Usually I'm just like, figure it out, and he does. One of the things, special exemptions and credits for small businesses. So this is some little extra things. So small businesses and promo can actually tap into some sweet tax exemptions and credits, but you have to really know where to look. So small business tax exemption. In some cities like San Francisco, small businesses with low revenue can get exemptions from certain local taxes. So check your city's rules because it could really save you thousands. ERC, if you kept employees on payroll during those tough times like post-COVID, you might still qualify for ERC, but beware, there's a lot of fraud here. So work with a legit advisor, and the IRS is cracking down on shady ERC claims, obviously. And then go ahead, one more, but go ahead. Did you have a question, Jeff? Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to say something.
I got no problem talking. I will open my mouth and say what I want to say.
Okay.
If I have something to say.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just listening.
Okay. Section 179 deduction. So this is a game changer for promo folks buying equipment. You can deduct the full cost of things like computers, software, or even a new embroidery machine, up to $1.22 million in 2025, as long as you put it to use by year end. So if you guys are out there buying a new DTF machine or
a new heat press,
right? Like that's all deductible.
Yeah.
Caution, don't fall for tax scams promising huge credits. If someone's pushing an offshore life insurance policy to dodge taxes, run the other way. The IRS is watching those very closely. So an action item you guys can do is talk to your CPA about qualified business income. This was something that we were looking at as well when I was doing her taxes. So you can actually deduct up to 20% of your business income if you pass it through an entity like an LLC or an S Corp. It's not specific to promo, but it's a really big win for small business owners. So those were some major deductions. Again, I filed everything that you see here. I had in a spreadsheet because I wanted to be super organized this year. And then obviously moving forward, because I've just been like willy-nilly with it all before. Time to be an adult.
Proud of you, Meg.
Me, for my business stuff, I always put my business stuff on like my business card, right? So it helps with the organization of it, but there are some expenses there that you talked about that like I know that I haven't taken advantage of. I mean, this office, for example, of us moving into this house, like I only use it for really like work purposes.
Yeah.
So this entire square footage could be written off. So
yeah, that was actually one thing I didn't do.
And it's not just your mortgage either. You can actually write off the utilities for that space too. So if that space is say 10% of your home, you can actually write off 10% of the utilities from your home as well.
Yeah. I have a couple of deadlines. Yeah, I have a couple of deadline dates and they've all passed, but I don't know. So if you guys haven't, if you've missed these deadlines, get with your CPA, file an extension. So April 15th obviously was a couple of days ago. That's for your individual income tax returns, your 1040 first quarter, estimated tax payments for those self-employed folks. Also, the deadline to request an extension, so if you owe any taxes, is April 15th. March 15th was for S Corps and partnership returns. April 15th is for your C Corp returns. And then February 1st was your deadline for employers to file Form W-2 and other wage statements. Disaster relief extensions. If you are in an area hit by storms like Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, any of those, the IRS has pushed back some of those deadlines to November 3rd of 2025. So check the irs.gov for details. But yeah, that's it on those kind of things that I looked up. Oh, one other thing. I did forget this, client gifts. You know, that's something that we do a lot of in this industry. Suppliers are always giving out, you know, the gifts, the mailers, the kits. Distributors are doing that as well, self-promos. So clients gifts, gifting branded items to clients, you can deduct up to $25 per recipient per year for business gifts. That's huge. So if you guys send out tumblers or hats or, you know, kitting or sweatshirts or whatever self-promo that you send out to your clients, you deductible, but keep it for your records. So up to $25 per recipient. There was something else for eco-friendly deductions as well, but I don't know. There might be some business credits, but definitely talk to your CPA about that. And that is all, sir and ma'am. Any questions?
Good information.
The tax expert.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's good information. I was just doing a quick search to try to find out more about how we're going to abolish the IRS, but you know.
Yeah, maybe we can do that.
Can we do it?
I know Trump's push was for, you know, families that make less than 150,000 basically pay nothing or no taxes, which is awesome. Hopefully that happens.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Well, and if that's families, right? Is that married families? But what if that's people like VJ and I, right? Like we combined, we would obviously make more than that, but separately we're our own. So how does that work? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of gray areas.
Well, it may be one of those situations where it's an individual making less than 75,000 or a married filing jointly as 150. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know what's been presented, but either way, I mean, if it's 150 regardless per family, then yeah, you'd be much better off to just file single then.
Yeah. I mean, we do anyway. We're not married, so we do anyway.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was some good information, I think, on taxes and other things.
I think it's just really important to I think why it really hurt my soul because I wasn't expecting the 60%. Like looking back at that, so I think it's like just be aware, you know, be like it's always going to be less than what you think.
And we'll have to remember this and like just kind of figure out. And it will be hard to really disseminate like what the amount was that you got back from when you filed taxes next year based upon what you paid for your bonus, but I would be curious.
Yeah, I'll let you know next year.
All right, so stay tuned. 360 days from now on Branding Banter episode 100.
Yeah.
So exactly how much
how much. Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, guys.
Happy Easter.
And,
happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.